guys waiting for extra long or what? A little bit. Tough morning. All right, what we got?
Alec, it sounds like John gave you guys a little reward today for the hard work that you guys have been putting in. Pretty well received amongst you and your teammates.
Yeah, I think the message, we're happy to get that day off, right? There was offense wanted to get back out there pretty bad after yesterday, but it's one of those things where we have this identity of a team we're trying to derive, and it's like, okay, we get this bone, coach gives us a day off, let's use it. You know what I'm saying? It's not a day to relax, it's a day to get your body right, get those legs right, get everybody prepared for week 1 of the preseason. So I think you definitely get a serious tone of guys in the weight room right now in the recovery. This facility is outstanding, so it's guys are able to take a few hours and really take advantage of it.
We've talked a lot about the 2019 group, of which you're a big part of, and it seems like that group is kind of taking a little bit of ownership of this team. Is that fair to say? And I know you guys kind of mandated that amongst yourselves that you're going to change this whole thing. And do you feel good about where that group is, and is that fairly accurate?
Yeah, that year 3 group I think is it's a group of guys that want to win here, and I think that's something that. You have Derek leading from the front. You have a lot of guys that have come in here from other places, but there's been, a lot of turnover here as well in recent years. And that's a lot to do with the wins and the losses, but we got a group of guys that say, you know what, we want to do it here, and we want to do it the right way. We want to build this thing the right way, and we're bought in. So they brought us in together. They've been speaking to us on how they want us, from top down to be able to embrace this Raider image and what we're going to do here, and everyone just bought in here. So I think – we're just taking more and more steps here, and it's just about winning games at this point.
Do you like what other fullbacks around the league, and I'm sure yourself as well, talks about the maturation of the position, and it's not 10 years ago, that's all the fullback did, but now there's so much more that the fullback did, even though people say, well, there's not as many in the league anymore?
Yeah, I think so. The fullback job, you're not going to write a whole lot of stories about what a fullback does on a day-to-day basis, right? But, I have to master the fundamentals of my role. And my role on this team is making a 4-yard run into 6 yards, a 3-yard catch into a 5-yard catch, giving Derek Carr a half a second longer. So when I'm on the field, I'm trying to make everybody else better. I'm trying to help people. And when you're saying there's more things, you're finding more and more ways for fullbacks to help the offense out, to change it up. When I run out on a field, defenses strap up a little bit tighter because they know it's either going to be run, it's a play action. There's not a whole lot of secrets. But it's a gritty position that not a whole lot of people like to do because – you don't get your name written about all the time, and it's things about those little plays. It's like running through a block with all the effort you got, or 75% is changing a 3-yard run to a 5-yard run, and that's my job here. So it's not glamorous, it's not fun. There's not a whole lot of stories written about it, but that keeps the offense on schedule. When you see a lot of a fullback and a lot of 21 personnel, you see a lot of on schedule football, a lot of second and short, third and short. That's the type of football that we need to play.
So when you go through your journey of quarterback to linebacker to making the switch, did you ever think this would be the switch? Like in the long run, and now that when it happened, obviously you were okay with it at Wisconsin, but when it happened, did you think back and say that's how I was going to make the NFL?
No, not a chance. I thought I was going to be slinging the ball. I thought I was going to be dropping back, and then I just wasn't 6'4". So, no, it was definitely a transition, and it was a decision I had to make at a young age. When I was 18 years old, and I got an offer to be an athlete instead of a quarterback, and Division I mid-major versus the Big Ten. And at that point, I just kind of had to give up that dream and say, you know what, I'm just going to play football because I love it. And you got to trust coaches, you got to trust teammates, and you got to be accountable. And I think that's kind of how I found my niche of just helping the team out as best I can.
How much have you lobbied Gruden for a fullback pass?
Anytime we're in the goal line, I'm pretty much in his ear all the time. So I don't know if that'll ever get put in, but we're trying.
Your value, if it was overlooked before, it probably wasn't overlooked anymore after you got hurt last year with the rib injuries. First of all, how much did that affect you down the stretch? And your role kind of changed a little bit because you couldn't probably be the physical fullback you usually are in the run game.
Yeah, it was a huge learning experience for me. I had to learn how to do my job when I wasn't sleeping, when I wasn't being able to breathe very well, when I wasn't able to be physical like you're saying. So to learn how to do my job when I was at my worst was a real blessing in disguise. To be able to prove to my teammates that I can still get this job done when everything is going against you. So It was different. I was playing different football the second half of the year, so I'm just excited to be back here in the pads, hitting the it's like chin music, man. It's a beautiful thing when you get the pads on, you hit them popping. So it's good to be back like that.
Alec, in layman's terms, what exactly is Spider 2Y Banana, and how good can this offense be this year?
Layman's terms of Spider 2i Banana, it's we just got a bone thrown to us for working hard and all that. That's my bone from coach. It's just a little play action pass, dump off to the fullback, and see what happens on the sideline. It's a great play call once or twice a game just to see if we can get some energy on the sideline. That's all it is. This offense, I think, we have all the talent in the world. We have all the people in the right places. We have the tight ends. We have the quarterback. We have the line. We have the backs. We have the receivers. So it's just about consciously making a choice every day to dominate. And, I think if we can start dominating on offense, I think you'll see a little bit different results for us.
You learn not to sneeze now when you're hurt.
Yeah, story behind that. I had that rib injury, and I went through, all week practice. I was running through bags, testing it out. We're like, oh, it's all good, it's all good. Walk through right before the practice, I sneezed, and I was on my knees, like, holding back tears. It hurt so bad. Trainer's like, what just happened? Like, we got you just a little bit longer, so walk through. And no, I sneezed right before the game. That Denver Bronco game was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life.
It looks from the sideline like the defense had a pretty good practice yesterday. It sounds like you kind of confirmed that, saying you want to get back on the field. I'm sure it's frustrating to not have much success, but is it good to see, like, the defense is winning some of these practices some days?
Yeah, that competition, it brings out the best in you, right? And it's like, how do you respond? And it's awesome for the offense to check into every perfect look, and you get this controlled environment of what the defense is in. But when they're able to just make plays, that's something where all of a sudden the offense needs to step up. You need to match that intensity. So every time we're in pads from here on out, it's going to be heightened intensity every single way. Everyone's stepping up now. People are getting back healthy. We got a full team. Everyone's excited. So that intensity is getting matched on both sides of the ball, which is a fun thing to do during camp.
All good? All right, thanks.
All right, guys.
Good morning. Still morning, right?
Questions?
Johnathan, it sounds like you guys were already in pads when you guys got the word that you got the day off today for a job well done. How does that feel, like, when you got, a little breath of fresh air, a little?
It felt amazing for a minute. I thought I was still dreaming. It was still early, so. But no, I appreciate Gruden looking out. We've been busting our tail out there, so I definitely respect them for looking out for us. So that's definitely with the preseason game coming up. So guys will be more fresh, more active, be out there to show what they can do.
How have you seen that defense, especially that defensive line, come together, especially with the rotations?
Oh, it's been nice. Like, from the time that I've been here, I feel like this is the most deepest we've been at all positions. So, this training camp has been a battle. It's going to be a grind. So we really got to just continue to, push forward and, show our abilities and, figure out, how we're going to go about things.
Gus Bradley on the practice field kind of makes it a point to go to position group, giving you guys advice and enthusiasm. How has he changed things around here from the defensive side?
Man, tremendously, man. His energy, his passions for his game, and just the way his approach is just, second to none. He's great with players, he's great with coaches, and he's such a free spirit, open guy that it makes it easier for you to go out there and play for him and understand his way of scheme and defense. So, I'm excited to have him here and everybody on the new staff. It's been great.
What is the addition of Gerald McCoy meant?
Oh, man, that was like, once I seen that we signed him, I'm looking like another dog. So, it just add more value to our defensive line, more depth, more competitiveness to us. So, I'm excited about it.
Then what differences, if any, did you see in what the defense was doing at practice yesterday that led to all the plays they made?
Really, just we just went out there and grind. Everybody's right now about tired, body's a little banged up, but just working with Coach Rod every day you work. Even if you don't want to wake up, you got to work, and if you want to work to get better, you got to work. So we've just been taking that approach and just taking it one day at a time. And the D line that we got now is just such a good group of guys that we just been bonding together, playing off each other, and just showing that it's a new defense.
Is it important to quote win days like yesterday for the defense for confidence, or is it just training camp and you just go on to the next?
It's really just just competitive, going against each other. It's not necessarily a win day, I guess you would say about yesterday, but we definitely brought it to them and competed our butts off. But it's just to get them better and get us better.
What have you seen from the new formed offensive line?
They're fast. They're definitely a little bit lighter than last year. So, Coach Gruden likes that. But they've been busting their tails. A lot of young guys finally coming into their own, and we just got to continue to make them better, get them better.
Johnathan, how much more versatility is there in that front four this year than in previous years you've been in?
A lot. Like, my first time playing with Solomon Thomas, I didn't expect him to be that fast and explosive and strong as well. And then with Carl and, fucking Max and, Giannis, it's been great to see. A lot of guys definitely improved their skill, their game, took it to another level, especially with Cleve Farrell. So, everybody's just, growing up. Everybody's, I felt like since of getting tired of losing, so we definitely got to do something and change that. But everybody's approach has been great. Coach Rod's been good, Coach Smith. So just, continue to, work every day.
Johnathan, you've been a pretty steady presence at that nose tackle spot, but obviously there's quite a rotation at the 3-tech next to you. What's really anything stood out to you about those guys that are rotating through?
They all bring something different to the table. Like I was saying, Solomon Thomas, Big Phil, Five Line, he's been doing this thing. I didn't, expect him to be as twitchy as he is, but he's been balling. Clee. We just got a lot of depth at the position, so, it ain't really, nothing really too much to worry about. I feel like we're going to have a nice rotation like Coach Rod wants, so, if someone's down, it won't be much of a void or a presence miss, I feel like.
Anything else? Cool, thanks.
Thank you.
Derek, seems like you guys are all padded up, ready to go out to practice, and Coach Gruden gave you guys a nice little reward for the hard work. A, how was that received? And B, going back to your days playing football in Houston, Bakersfield, Fresno, you've dealt with some pretty intense heat. And, where does this rank in terms of that? And is there a mental challenge to dealing with that out there when you guys are working?
It's definitely when you first start putting the pads on and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely something that around the second, third period, you're like, whew, you got to talk yourself into it a little bit. But one thing is, again, it wasn't a day off. We were still working just in the weight room with AJ and with the trainers with Cortez and stuff. But I would say that our team has been working really hard. It's been highly competitive camp, probably the most competitive camp I've been a part of. And when you watch the film and you just see the effort, you see some of the big guys, they're a little tired. You see some things that you don't want injuries to happen. You see some of the fast guys that, we had maybe this little tweak or this little thing, and that's his job to take care of the team. And that was his call. We had no idea. At least I didn't. Maybe some of the other guys did. I had no idea. I was ready after the defense got after us a little bit yesterday. I was talking trash in the locker room, so I was ready to kick the crap out of them today. And I told them Coach gave them a free pass, so they have to wait one more day for it.
What were your thoughts on the defense and the way they played yesterday and getting those turnovers in particular?
Awesome. If anyone walked off that field excited, it was definitely me. This is a team game, and it will always be it's the best game because it's the team game. Every man in that locker room matters, and in order for us to end up with the goal that we want, right? And when they're making plays like that, I've been around days where, we win 100% of the time, and that's hard, because then you're like, yeah, I think we're going to be pretty good, but I hope, hopefully we're that good, whereas all camp has been competitive. Now, yesterday there was just when turnovers happen, they come in bunches. Like, that's an NFL saying, they come in bunches. And For them to get them and for tip balls, like I've seen those hit the ground all the time, but for them to, you watch some of those efforts for guys like running the other direction to put their foot in the ground and go get those, like it's impressive stuff. You know, it's definitely being taught and it's definitely something talked about in their training. So for it to happen was exciting for us. You know, obviously you don't want to ever lose a day, you know, but they got after us, you know, and they had the turnovers and they're punching the ball out, not just, you know, interceptions or tip picks and things like that. But I mean, they're punching the ball out, you know, so you can definitely tell it's being coached. You know, Coach Gruden always says what you put on film is what you coach, right? And so you can definitely, you can see it happening all throughout camp, and then they kept working, and then finally it just broke free for them. So again, we want to limit that as an offense, but it's an exciting thing as a team because those are short fields, and short fields usually equal points in this league.
I talked to Alec about the perception in 2021 about a fullback. Maybe people still think 15 years ago, well, that's the fullback.
Yeah.
What is a fullback to you in 2021? Why is he important to the outside looking in and saying, well, it's just a fullback?
Oh, buddy, probably the most thankless job, you know, in maybe all the sports. I don't know. You know, I'm not on other teams. I don't play other sports, but to me, like, you know, from the outside looking in, you're just like, fullback, just block the guy, you know, and you're like, you have no idea, you know, what goes into that. Like he has to see and hear the call standing behind me with his hand in the ground, and he has to know the fronts. He's got to know where the safeties are. He's got to know. There's so much that man has to know to hit the right gap so that Josh can hit the right gap, right? And all those things. So, let alone the physical toll. Like they wear neck braces for a reason at fullback. You know, some of those collisions are. I'm glad I play quarterback. My sons, they won't be playing fullback. You know, like some of those collisions are just different. And you know, so nowadays I think you see a lot of fullbacks. So the guy. I think he's in San Francisco now. I mean, very athletic, right? Great athlete. You know, there's some other guys that you see teams drafting some bigger running backs, and they turn into fullbacks because of their speed, really. You know, and especially with like the zone read teams, and you see those guys getting out on the edge and running, you know, to go get safeties. You know, 15, 20 yards down the field. Alec reminds me of. He has that speed. When we train, I think I've told you guys before, he runs all the routes, you know. He doesn't run fullback stuff. He runs slants and goes and digs and all these kind of things. And he has that ability, but he has that old school, like Lorenzo Neal feel to him too. You know, I know Lo Neal real well, Fresno State, but we got our hair cut together, you know, for years when I was in college, you know, and talking to him. And Alec in their mindset, I mean, you got to be different to play fullback, you know, with the way that we run the power and the counters and the ISOs. I mean, it's one-on-one, you and that guy in the hole, and if you don't win, it's going to be a loss. And more times than not, Alec wins. So I'm trying to give the guy as much praise as I can because he's very vital to us. And not only that, he's extending his role. You know, he's trying to play running back. You know, just in case someone's hurt, he can go play running back. He knows all the assignments. He goes and plays tight end. Some days he'll go with the tight ends and he'll run all the routes and know the protections and all that kind of stuff. So. A guy like that is so valuable to your team. You know, I think you've seen it at the Packers when they had John Kuhn. I mean, that was their third down back for a long time, right? And Alec's a guy that can step in and do that. You know, you see guys like Taysom Hill playing different positions, quarterback, receiver, tight end, all that. Alec can do those things. Now, we have a lot of guys, so we may not need him to, but he definitely can.
When he broke his ribs last year, played through them, right, exactly. But his role changed because he couldn't be as physical as he normally was. How much did that affect what you guys were doing, and does his value become even more pronounced when he has to deal with that and you can't use him the way you normally would use him?
Yeah, absolutely. Then you can, he's still suiting up. Like, even though he maybe can't do, I mean, we won't get into his medical thing, but for him to be playing is just insane, right? And I couldn't imagine how much it hurt just to put the stuff on, let alone go hit 250-pound linebackers, right? And so he wasn't able to maybe, in his words, do something that he wanted to do, but he's so valuable to where we can still put him out there, run some schemes that we still need him, you know, but also do some things with him where he can show more of his athleticism. And he showed that, I think, last year. I mean, we saw him truck somebody's helmet off. We saw him jump over a corner. These are athletic people, you know, and for him to still be able to do those things, you know, guys, his value, you don't really get to talk about it because he's a fullback, right? You know, everyone talks quarterback value and receivers and these kind of things, but the value he brings to our team is so nice. You never want to have to use him in different ways, but we have him to do that just in case.
Will you audible out of any throw they call for him on the goal line?
No, no.
Allow him you want him to throw it.
Yeah. Oh, you saying to throw to him?
No, him throw it.
Oh, I let him throw it. Absolutely. He's got a cannon. Oh yeah, he can throw the ball. He was a quarterback.
Quarterback in high school.
He was a quarterback. He got recruited as a quarterback, so he can throw it. I don't know about with the neck roll, but that might be a little different. But he can definitely throw.
Could he throw that touchdown pass to you that you've been talking about?
Him or Marcus, I'll take either one. I'll never forget. We had one when for Seawood. We had one for Seawood called. I can't remember. We're playing a night game. Chargers. Was that his last game?
Yep.
Okay, we're playing a night game, and we had one. We actually called it, and like on this one play, like no one ever looks at me, and I would hand the ball off every time. We handed off, and it was Seawood. I was going to catch a touchdown from Seawood. I was like, I'm framing this ball. He can't have it. Like, it's one thing I'm going to fight him on, right? And two people, they double teamed me, so it's ruined everything for me. So ever since then, I haven't had a chance. So
Any idea if you're gonna play on Saturday or?
we never know. You try and you don't try and guess. You kind of try and see through the noise a little bit, but we never know. I mean, I've played one series in 3 years here in the preseason, and last year we didn't have preseason, so it's totally whatever Gru wants. We always prepare as if we're gonna play. And I think Gru just makes it, maybe he brainwashes us, but every day it's like, especially like today, you just come in and you do what we say and what we're going to lead you the right way. So I don't know. I'll be ready to play, but I don't know.
Derek, after what Marcus Mariota went through last year with the injury in the offseason and whatnot, how excited are you to see him get on the field for this game on Saturday and showcase?
Yes, just like I said last year, like so much is talked about with the quarterback position, and we all know what he went through in Tennessee, and kind of like as quarterback, you always know what other quarterbacks are going through, and you feel for him, you're excited for him, you cheer for him. Some you don't cheer for, but there's definitely great guys in this league, and he's at the very top of the list on just people, right? And so when he got to play last year, when I pulled my groin, like, couldn't have been more happy for him. And I wish he would have won the game, for himself, because he was so down, but I just tried to tell him, like, bro, you played great. Like, I sat there as long as I could, like, bro, you balled out. Like, that was awesome. All that hard work, everything you've been through, so happy for you, all that stuff, right? And so for him to get back out there, I hope he doesn't play too much, because then someone's going to want to try and come get him. We enjoy having him around, like I honestly, like, out of all the quarterbacks I've been around, like, I could hang around with him, like, all day long. You know what I'm saying? And so hopefully when he gets in there, he balls out. I'll be the number one fan cheering for him, just like I am for Nate. Just like if Case gets in there, I'll be cheering for him, And but Marcus has worked his tail off. I think he's finally getting to a healthy place where he feels good, I know coming off of surgeries, it's tough, it's hard, but I tell you, I'm always in his corner, hoping that he gets everything that he wants in life, because he's, like I said, there's a lot of good guys. He's at the top of the list on some of the best people in this league.
Derek, on a personal level, what does 30 feel like?
Honestly, like, the only thing that's different is I got gray hairs in my beard. Like, so I haven't grown it out in a while. I was like, bro, I got like 5 gray hairs. Like, what is going on? But me and Johnathan were talking about this. He's like, you're 30 now? I was like, yeah, I'm 30 now. He's like, how do you feel? I was like, I feel like I'm 20. I honestly believe this, that like our generation, like the way that we've taken care of our bodies with football, I think like 30 is like the new 20, like I feel like I could play another 15 years, like without a doubt, like nothing's hurting, it's like middle of camp and I feel great. I feel strong in the weight room. I feel fast. I feel explosive. And it's just, I think it's the way we train now. And that comes with science and that comes with more understanding. But if I'm honest, like I honestly feel stronger, faster, better than I did when I first got to the NFL, and that comes with more knowledge on how to train and how to eat and how to take care of your body. And that takes a little bit of money sometimes, but it's definitely worth it, because I'm sitting here year 8, and I remember people ahead of me talking about year 8, like, oh, miserable, and they can barely walk out of bed. And I'm like, I'm blessed, man. I don't have those problems. And I've had broken bones and all these things, but the way they rehab and stuff nowadays, I feel great.
Derek, what is the addition of Gerald McCoy meant to this team?
Oh, he's great. Didn't you love his energy? I'm glad. What was yesterday? Yeah. He talked yesterday? Yeah. I mean, just he comes into a room, you're like, man, I love this guy, And we joked around. I sat there and talked to him, gave him a hug when I first saw him. I was like, glad you don't have to chase me around anymore. Glad you're on our team, because he has one of the fastest get-offs I've ever seen. Like, that ball would be snapped and he'd swim so fast and like already be reaching to you as you're dropping away, and very impressive. And so I don't know, what his health is at. He came from, was his quad or something like that. I don't know what all that's at, but he's been at practice, and I see him moving and think, man, I'm like, he still can play. He's still got it. He's twitchy. You could tell he's been in the gym. He looks great. So I'm excited. I'm glad. Keep bringing them, man. Keep bringing good players.
He sounded like a coach on the field yesterday when he was talking to us.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because it reminded me of something about him. I was walking down the hallway. We got done with our meetings, and we're walking to go get dressed for walkthrough. And as I'm walking, he has the whole D line sitting there, and he's talking about fronts, coverages. He's like, you got to know the coverage, because you got to know when you can take a shot, when you have an 8-man front and take a shot in this guy or this. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, he's sitting there, and all eyes are like locked in. Like, all these young guys are even like writing it down. Like, I was like, bro, like, I don't know if last time I've seen something like that. I was so impressed of those guys, just one, listening, to him, and because he's new, but he's got 6 Pro Bowls. Obviously, you'll listen to the guy. He knows what he's doing. But two, him taking the time. I've been around some guys, they don't, they're just going to do their thing and just keep it pushing. But he's just trying to make the team better. And I was so impressed by that. He had them all, and like there was no one around, and I could hear him down the hall, and I come walking, and there they are, just all the D line and him just sitting there talking to him about fronts and when to do this, and then I'm like, it was really impressive. It was really cool.
Derek, along those lines, his presence, it feels like there's a lot of that going on here, that type of presence.
Yeah.
And when you talk about him being a willing leader, but also willing listeners with his teammates.
Yeah.
And Mike and John have made it a point to pinpoint character,
Yeah.
the kind of people that they want to bring in here.
Yeah.
Not to speak about anything in the past, but
Yeah.
do you feel like there's a change in that regard?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Even just thinking about our quarterback room. We got 3 guys that have played a lot of football. They've been in the league a while. Guys that there's one thing on a football team, like when the starter says something or brings the team, like everyone's going to listen, right? But Marcus could easily say, fellas, come here real quick. Everyone's going to listen. We're all going to be there listening. Nate could say something, guys, come here. Look, bro, I'm telling y'all, look, it's like this. Everyone's going to listen. You look at every position, and there's 2, 3, 4 guys in each room that all have that presence about them, and it's really cool, and they're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Some guys, in certain positions where they choose not to, which is great. It's fine, all that. But you can see them go up one-on-one to a guy, hey, when you run this route, I see Marcus, hey, when you run that route, and he'll come to me, hey, I told him. I was like, yeah, absolutely. You've played ball? Like, that's exactly how I see it. Nate will say something, hey, I told Hunter. I was like, yeah, absolutely. And it's a beautiful thing about, you see a lot of veteran presence, right? But also honoring the guys that are playing, honoring like, hey, if you see it that way on the D-line, do you see it that way? Because I see it. And just our team, you can just feel this momentum of everyone just heading towards getting better, Whereas I've been around sometimes where people are pulling the other way and can't win like that.
Derek, obviously, we talked about it when Waller first missed. You obviously want him out there, but this prolonged absence, how much does that kind of help the growth and continue to build trust between you and Ruggs and Edwards? Yeah,
I mean, think about all those guys. Foster, hey, you're the starter today. Here you go. And I told Darren, I was like, still got about 30 days, so you take your time. You're good. Just hang out. And it allows these other guys to get more reps. I've thrown 200 and something passes to Waller. It allows these other guys that I've thrown only a few to, to get more reps and time on task, and they're making plays. You guys have been there. You guys see these young guys jumping up for balls and competing for the play. And I have a group of wideouts that I trust, that when I drop back, I'm going to throw the ball up to him. And I told him, it's up to you if you want to make SportsCenter or not. I'm going to throw it to you because you guys have the talent and the ability to go make these plays. There was one day I rolled out and totally chucked one up to Henry, one-on-one. And this man jumps about 4 feet off the ground, snatches it, lands, gets up, and runs. And I told him, I was like, you keep doing that in practice, I promise you I'll throw that in a game. But if we don't see it in practice, I can't throw it in a game. I can't do it. I can't put our team at risk, for a turnover or a bad play, right? But as long as they're making plays, or when I make a bad throw, they're knocking it down to go to 2nd and 10, man, we can keep doing that. And what I'm seeing with Waller being out is I know what I have in Waller, obviously. You know, we time on task, we still need more work, obviously. But these young guys are getting a chance to gain trust with me. You know, for me to make a decision for the organization, for my family, right, and cut that ball loose to you, you know, I take a lot of work. It takes a lot of trust in me making that decision to throw you a pass, right? And so time on task, special teams periods, working, you know, in the team drills, actually giving some. There's a couple of times the other day, I just like, you know what, I'm just going to give a couple guys a chance and watch them go make plays, right? And when they do, it just, like we talked about, I think last week, you file it away and you're like, okay, when I get that look, I know he'll go do it for me. So they're doing a good job.
Let's do one more, Adam.
Well, I was gonna ask, what did you know about Case before he came here, and what have you seen from him? He's only been here a couple of days, but did you know anything about him?
About who, sorry?
About Case?
Oh, Case. I thought you said Cabes. I was like, yeah, Cabes. Case, I remember Gru always talking about, at this rookie minicamp, man, we had this guy really smart. You'd love him, you know. And Gru told me a couple weeks ago that they might bring him in and get him around, you know, Marcus and Nate and I, and just help him out, you know, and let him, you know, get some film out there and play and compete and all those things, right? And so I knew a little bit. I didn't know him personally, but I knew through Gru. We had talked about him and all those things. But when Gru told me, hey, we're going to bring him in next week, I was like, oh, sick. So the first thing I do, I put my arm around him. I started talking to him, just trying to teach him, you know, the snap count and all those things. And it's just, I don't know, it's something about a football team, especially when you get someone new at your position. You just want to help. You know, I don't know how everybody is, but I just want to help them and give every bit of knowledge that I can about the offense, about what I've seen in my 8 years and things like that. But he's been a great kid, super nice. You know, has fit in right to the room, joking around, messing around with people. You know, it's good. I think he's probably swimming a little bit with me and Gru being together for 4 years now. We're talking about some stuff, and Ole's like, we'll talk about it later, Case. Like, we'll talk about it, you know. But he really is working hard at it, and you can tell that it means something to him. It's opportunity, right, to put some stuff on film. So I'm going to help him as much as I can to further his career. But he's a great kid.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks.